Bo turns onto one end of Washington Boulevard in a slow, broken down car. He is moving at a constant speed of 12 meters per second and is traveling east. Jihad is 1,500 meters away in a shiny new bicycle and travels west at the constant speed of 7 meters per second. When and where will they meet? Alright, so I'm thinking ahead. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have enough room on the board to write down the problem and then do the whole problem. So if you need to look at the problem, go back a couple seconds, look at the paragraph that I wrote out for you, take a picture of it, write it down by hand, type it out, whatever you need to do. Alrighty, so I already drew our car, I already drew our bicycle. We're going to need to put all of our information from the problem onto the picture. That'll also help you so you don't really need the problem in a minute here. Looking at Bo, we got Bo in his car. It's a broken down car. This is Bo over here. He wears a lot of headbands. He's got longer hair, so that's why he looks like that. Don't make fun of my art. So Bo is traveling east, 12 meters per second. Alright, I'm going to try and use the green marker for all of Bo's stuff, and then I'll use the blue marker for Jihad's stuff. Jihad is 1,500 meters away, and he's traveling 7 meters per second west. Alright, so we got Bo's speed, we got Jihad's speed. And we also know that they are 1,500 meters apart. Okay, that will be helpful. Now, the key here is when the problem asks when and where will they meet. Well, meet is a huge piece of information. What happens when they meet is they arrive at the same place at the same time. So they're going to get, I'm just going to pick a spot. He's going a little faster than Jihad, so somewhere over here. Boom, they meet. Well, what happens when they meet? Well, that means that Bo traveled for some length of time, and Jihad traveled for the same length of time. That's one of the huge important pieces of information in the problem when it says, where will they meet? The other is, well, they get to the same place. So the whole stretch here, this whole piece of road is 1,500 meters long. I'm just going to pick. I'm going to say, let's let Bo travel X meters. Now, if Bo traveled X meters, then Jihad traveled the rest. The rest is 1,500 minus X. So that is the distance, we'll get to that in a second, it's not the displacement. That is the distance that Jihad has to travel. Bo is going to travel X meters, Jihad is going to travel the rest. And mathematically, 1,500 minus X is the rest. Alright. I think that's all we need for the picture. Let's start writing down some given. We got given for Bo. Bo's given is, he's traveling with a velocity of 12 meters per second. He's going to travel X meters, and he's going to do it in T seconds. That's all we know about Bo. Unfortunately, we have two unknowns. So we're going to have to go over to Jihad, we're going to have to make another equation. Because if we have two unknowns, using our algebra skills, we know we need two equations. Two equations, two unknowns, we can solve them with the system of equations. So over here we're going to write down Jihad's given. And for Jihad now, here's where it gets a little more complex. We know Jihad's speed is 7 meters per second. His velocity has to be negative 7 meters per second. Because Bo is going east, Jihad is going west. So if Bo is going at a positive 12 meters per second, Jihad has to be going at a negative 7 meters per second. Don't mess that up. Now we're going to write down Jihad's distance. The distance that Jihad travels is 1,500 minus x. However, we just got done saying Jihad is traveling west. We're saying that west is negative. So we have to make sure that this is a negative number at the end. Right now it's not. So Jihad's displacement must be negative. Well, Bo's traveling x meters. X is clearly smaller than 1,500. Obviously, otherwise Bo went further than the road. That won't work. So this is a number smaller than 1,500. That means that 1,500 minus x is positive. The problem is, he's going west. His displacement must be negative. So we need to think ahead and make his displacement negative. If you miss that little step, your answer will be way off. And you'll be looking at it and saying, I have no idea why. I swear I did all my algebra right. You probably did everything else right, except that. You have to make the displacement negative because Jihad is going west. And so I'm going to rewrite this. You can distribute the negative 1,500 plus x, or the way that I'm going to write it is x minus 1,500. So now we actually have Jihad's displacement, which is what we need. All right, those were the hard ones. Delta t for Jihad is the same. It's just t. Again, that's the whole point. This whole problem focuses around the idea that they get to the same place at the same time. They started at the same time, so delta t will be the same for both of them. All right, I got two sets of given. I got one for Bo, I got one for Jihad. I'm going to write up a little equation for each. The only equation that will fit our given is that our constant velocity equals displacement over time. And I'm going to break one of the rules here because we're going to end up solving a system of equations. I'm going to start plugging in my numbers much earlier than usual. I'm going to plug in 12 for our velocity. I'm going to plug in x for our delta x. I'm going to plug in t for our delta t. I'm just going to leave that sitting over here then. Again, I can't solve it right now. I have two unknowns. So now I'll come over here to Jihad stuff. Jihad has basically the same given. Velocity, displacement, and time. So I'm going to write a very similar equation. I'm going to start with velocity equals displacement over time. And I'm going to, once again, oops, forgot that before. I'm going to plug in my numbers early. I rarely ever do that. All right, but because we're going to be solving a system of equations, we're going to plug our numbers in. So our velocity is -7. Our delta x, our displacement, as we just talked about, is x minus 1,500. And our time is just t. And now what you should see here is that we have two equations with two unknowns. We don't know x, we don't know t. But with two equations, we should be able to solve. I'm sure there's dozens of ways to solve this. But I'm just going to multiply both sides by t over here. So I get 12t equals x. And I'm going to make that substitution. So I'm going to bring this 12t all the way over there and substitute it in for x, because x equals 12t. That's what we just learned from all of Bo's given. So now we've combined both equations. So I'm going to switch colors. This is both of them at this point. So we have -7 equals 12t minus 1,500 over t. Well, now what we have here is we have one equation, one unknown. We can solve for t. I'm going to move t over. I know I have two t's. It looks a little annoying, but it's not so bad. So multiply both sides by t. Just to be clear, this is a negative, not a subtraction. So we have -7t equals 12t minus 1,500. we're going to combine like terms is the algebra terminology for it. We're going to move the 7t over to here with the 12t. We're going to move the 1500 over. So we'll get all the t's on one side, all the numbers on the other side. So I'll do plus 7t. And at the same time, I'm going to do plus 1500. So my 1500s go away here, my 7t's go away over here. I get 1500 equals 19t. Right off the bat, I'm feeling pretty good because now I know I have a positive number. I better get a positive number for t. Time can't be negative. So then I just have to divide by 19. And let's see, what do we get here? If you do everything properly, you should get 78.95 seconds. So there's your t. That wasn't so bad. All right, so we solved for t. That was really most of the hard work. Now we're just going to plug t back into either equation. I'm thinking this equation is going to be easier to use. And again, I'm looking at this, not looking at the extra t's on the outside. So 12 equals x over t, where t we now know is 78.95. So 12 equals x over 78.95. So I'm just going to multiply both sides by 78.95. Sorry, my handwriting's poor. I think you get the idea. And so we get x equals 947.368 meters. And so there you go. That's how long it'll take for them to meet. That's how far Bo will go. Depending on the question, if you were to do a similar question like this, if it said, for instance, how far from where Jihad starts will they meet, you'd have to go plug this back in here. You'd have to do 1500 minus 947.368. But this problem didn't ask for that, so we're basically done. You can look at it, you can kind of just do a mental check. You say, well, 947, that's more than halfway, but it's less than 1500. So that also seems like a very reasonable number. We know it had to be more than half because Bo was going faster than Jihad. And we knew it couldn't be bigger than 1500 because how could they meet past where Jihad started? So our numbers look good. I think that's it. If you have any comments, let me know down below. You should also be able to find my email address down there. If you're not one of my students and you're still watching this, I'd be more than happy to help you. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you think.